Hey, it's Big Jeff coming to you from BigJeffAudio.com. Also representing B2AudioUSA.com. Make sure you hit that like button right now. It doesn't cost you $1. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe, like, and follow. And always leave comments, good or bad. We try to respond to them. We try to bring them up in future videos. And you can always leave another one at the end of the video. Here, we are unboxing, or actually we're starting to unbox, test, and go over one of the newest amplifiers from B2 Audio. And this is a Class AB
You can
amp.
see it before you buy it.
And hopefully, by the end of this video, if you don't know what that is or what it does, you'll have a better understanding. This is the reference 4. The 4 stands for 4-channel. So this is not a prototype. This is actually one from the production run.
It's the real deal.
That we got sent directly out so we could do this while they get on the container and ship in. We are June 7th today filming this, 2025, and hopefully these will be on the container that'll be here within 2 months. So let's go ahead and crack this open. Okay, so along with the new stuff, and if you know about the Rage amps, which have been selling really well, no issues, the Rage 3500, 4800, and the 12.4. We also have new boxing. Now, this type of boxes I like. B2 Audio has stepped up some of that. You're paying a higher end price. You should also
Worth it. Totally worth it.
get not just higher end product, but also packaging. Magnet closed boxes. These are the type of boxes you want to leave and save in your closet and or your garage. You have some raised chrome looking lettering, and then on the inside of all these there's different data sheets. So it shows frequency wave cutoffs, high and low. It shows some power, and this was tested at 1K and also 40 hertz. You also have the actual specs here, so that is really cool. Packaging, also part of the new stuff, is to make it better to be shippable. Right, yes, online world is a part of this, and shipping these to customers is very important. So as you can see, well packed. There is a custom foam that fits this perfect, and you also have that. All right, in here is a manual, and pretty much since the end of 2024 and 25, B2 Audio has gone to scan codes for everything on the B2Audio.com, B2AudioUSA.com site. So let's just go over a few specs before we open this up. It is a Class AB, frequency response 10 hertz to 25 kilohertz, signal noise ratio 90 dB, input sensitivity 0.3 to 6 volts. Now, I've seen a lot of weird comments. One of them was on the Korean amps, and somebody bitching that it only shows up to 6 volts and good amps can accept 40 volts. Okay, not true. Yes, clean voltage is where it is, non-clip, but Korean amps are very much made to not need all that input voltage to create power. Think of it as like a gas pedal. In fact, the Korean amps work much better under 1 volt signal coming in, which also makes things easier for you. You don't have to use line drivers, things like that. But on all the Rage AB amps, also to 4 volts is fine, even a little bit less. The amp will adjust for that for you. Okay, 24 dB per octave. Low pass crossover is 40 hertz to 400 hertz. High pass crossover is 40 hertz to 4 kilohertz. Bass EQ 45 hertz. That's a 0 to 12 dB. Zero gauge input. They recommend a 150 amp external fusing. Now this amp here will do about 200 by 4 at 4 ohm. 300 by 4 at 2 ohm, and then bridged at 4 ohm will be 2 by 600 watts. Can this go lower? Yes, but not recommended. And if you do go mono down to 2 ohm, the amp will do it, but it will get very hot. So make sure you have good electrics and also plenty of cooling. AB amps, one of the downfalls is they get hot. Now, why buy an amp that's made to run at 4 ohms and produce 600 watts plus? Run it any lower? No reason. So make sure you're either building your system around it or this is fitting in with it. What I mean by that is 600 watts can run a small subwoofer. make sure you're running a single 4 or a dual 2. Probably could even run some smaller, 8s, 2 of them, but again, it's 400 watts RMS. But getting 300 watts times 4 for the mids and highs is actually a lot of power, especially in the AB world. Okay, I made some notes because I talked to Jay on a couple things. This amp actually has 2 amps in one that share the input power, which also is a good thing. If you're having an issue on one of the channels, it's not going to shut down the other side. So think of this as 2 amps in one, which does make it more efficient. They do share the power input, but everything else is split. Now, what makes this thing an AB and why is it up in that $600 or so range? Well, they use Sanctum MOSFETs. They are Japanese. TI chips, Elna capacitors, and very high-end parts. So those parts are bought from different areas, Japan, Korea, and everywhere else. They do go to China, and it is put together there. Now, AB amps are made for people that want 1, sound quality, and 2, sound quality. It's a very warm, real sound. And most of you don't understand that there is a difference in sound. And just because you buy an amp that is cost efficient and does the power doesn't mean it's very clean power. So yes, I've heard differences in the way the bass hits with different amplifiers, but definitely on the mids and highs. Now, if you're just buying stuff to scream, well, then it doesn't really matter. Your Class D technology is superb for nowadays, and you can do that. But if you really look for some of the sound quality, or you want to step up a notch and just have that fullness of sound, you will hear a difference between a Class D and an AB amp. There is a market out there for the AB. All right, let's get this baby out. Normal Allen wrenches, some screws. This is that new design that you see in the Rage amps, which is very popular. I do plan to take one of my Riot 1800s out of the Yukon for the outside speakers and put this on there, just because I want the outsides not just to scream, but really sound like a home surround sound setup. So right away you can notice this is that design. It's kind of crazy to know that there's only, it's basically broke up in half and you only have half of a heat sink, but this thing still does very well with heat transfer. One reason is the actual heat sink is very thick. 2, the board is actually a wedge board, which also allows this to, a sandwich board, allows this to be small and fit all the MOSFETs. All these amps, which we're going to take a closer look, have what I call clickable adjustments, which is really cool, which means you can almost set your gains and frequencies by counting the amount of clicks. The other good thing about that is less apt for these to move over time with vibration and heat. Okay, also on the crossover setting, there's a 1 times and a 10 times, which would then, for instance, on this high pass crossover, you're either 40 hertz to 400 kilohertz. You hit the switch, it turns into 400 hertz to 1 times is, I'm having speech impediment, 40 hertz to 400 hertz. Click it a second time, and I have 400 hertz to 4 kilohertz. So that's how that works. You do have a clip light, we do have a power protect light, we do have Tiffany style RCAs, you do have 0 gauge inputs, and then we have 2 sides, outsides abridged. You have your left and right, which no problem at all fitting 12 gauge in there. And then you have the same thing on the other side. Okay, I know you're watching the unboxing right now, and we just cut into actually the dynoing. I did forget something. This does come with the bass knob. It is the nice one, voltage, clipping, and temp. That wasn't inserted in here. Remember, this was off a production run, but they were shipping one out directly so we could do the testing. So I didn't have it in front of me, but it's the same as the ones that come with all the Rages. Clipping, power, voltage, and temp. So this does have that, and that will work on the second side of the amplifier. So you have a left and a right, which you can do 2-channel, 4-channel. It does plug in to the right, so that would be what it controls the right side. So back to the unboxing, and stay tuned either in this video or the part 2 of the dynoing. And I'm telling you right now, you're going to be surprised. This amp had power for days. I like doing a dyno where it's real simple and I don't run into a bunch of problems. Tune it and go. And I was very, very cautious on tuning. I didn't really over tune it, and it had power for days. So back to the unboxing. You also have on the first side a 2-channel, 4-channel, which basically means you could view one RCA, it'll power up both sides. You do have a clip light there, you still have the same crossover settings, and you do have gain, level EQ, and then over here, same thing, level EQ and gain. So it's a beautiful amp. Let's look at some specs. This total amp is only 18 inches by just around with the terminals 6.5 inches and 3 inches tall. So super small footprint. That's what makes these beautiful. Plus, I love how it comes out the bottom. You can mount these all different ways. Just a beautiful look. Let's go ahead and get the Big Jeff cam.
Big Jeff
Let's
cam
get a little close up for
activated.
you all. Okay, so you can see here we have, for the crossover, you have your gain control, 2-channel, 4-channel, Tiffany style. And then we have front left, front right, rear left, rear right. I like how that's labeled and it's not just 4 separate channels. And then we have the outers or bridged. Plenty of room for good wire to go in and your remote turn on. Beautiful amp. On the side here, we do have a cooling fan. I'll see if there is another one inside. Yes, we will take this apart. You love seeing the guts, and I want to see some of these Japanese parts. Okay, so that's that there. I'd love to hear in the comments what you think about AB amps. Are they for you? And if they are, why? If they're not for you, why? They are not cheap, but anybody I've talked to, and even myself, I've heard them side by side. There is a sound quality difference overall. It's very efficient. Way more consistent for power. But the bigger downfall besides the price is these can get very hot. Yes. So make sure you have it ventilated, maybe some extra cooling. Now, the fan also has, I'm told, inside when you take the cover off, you can set it off, on, or auto. Why would you want to turn it off? A lot of sound quality guys, if they're going to do in the lanes or whatever, they want to shut it off. Downfall to that is you do have to take the cover off. Me personally, I would just leave it on auto. This does have a higher thermal cutoff because the amp is designed and it knows it's going to get hot. But you got to have fans, right? We got to cool things off. Just put it on auto. Very rarely is this going to be put in a spot that you're going to hear it. And I've never heard any fans on any of the B2 audio amps that are too loud. Okay, I'm going to grab some tools, and you're probably going to see a as I take this apart. And then let's take a look at the inside. I'm Big Jeff from BigJeffAudio.com, also represent B2AudioUSA.com, talking about the new reference 4 Class AB. Big thing. Let me take this apart. So as you can see, this is not a normal amp where you just take the bottom plate off. It's designed that way not to keep you out, which you shouldn't be in there, but it is designed that way for the technology and the way the board is and the shape, which obviously this is much different than your normal everyday amp. So there is different screws that, as you probably, well, you didn't see because it's going too fast, there is right screwdrivers and torques to use without stripping it out. So you want to take your time if you had to. Second, I wouldn't use a power tool. I've used them before in here, small ones, but very easy. And we don't want to hear a warranty. Oh, it came like this. It doesn't. Usually when this is put together the first time, you'll see once you take it apart, you'll know if it was taken apart. There we go. And there she goes. Okay, this is beautiful. So this is actually the first time I've looked in an AB amp. I've seen some of the, what is it? USA amps. So first glance, which we're gonna look into this, it's just a lot cleaner. Everything's smaller. He was talking about the different caps, MOSFETs. Everything is higher end. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go with the Big Jeff cam first, just to give you an overlay.
Jeff cam activated.
There we go. You can see it's just a very clean. Now what you're seeing here is the MOSFETs attached to this underneath the board, I'm pretty sure. So we're gonna take a look at that too. And then you can basically see the shares here, but it's one side and one side. So this is basically a mirror image of over here. I don't know if you noticed that. It is two separate amps in one. Okay, then we're gonna get the up close and personal. And you can see here, it might be hard, there's a wedge. So the board is actually wedged apart and there's MOSFETs in there. That's what these are, to give more MOSFETs with less actual digital footprint. But let's take a look at some of this stuff. Hold on. It's just a much cleaner board. It's got the B2 logo. I'm not sure why it says the 1200 on. Oh, because it's 1200 watts total. Yeah, I get it. Duh. And then, which you didn't see this. This is the side plate that has the fan. It's a brushless fan, which also means it's very quiet. Okay. And the fan plugs in on this side. And I think this right here, you would move these over, that if you wanted it on all the time or auto. So that's what that is right there. It's just a clean, beautiful looking amp. I'd really like to see how hot these get, because that's what I hear. But as long as you got ventilation, you got good electrics. This is still an efficient amp, and it makes incredible amount of power for its size. I mean, this right here is a 1200 watt amp. Just beautiful. And then, you know, the crazy part is you have this, but how thick this is. This is what the heat reduction is. Go back to that. So that's almost an inch thick. All right. So that's almost an inch thick all the way around. That's where the heat. Energy you can't destroy, you just convert it into different types of energy. This disperses that heat. The heat basically evaporates in a way. You have a fan. So there isn't a second fan in here. You just have one. I'm going to guess it sucks cold air in because the other side is slotted and it pushes it out. That's what I'm going to guess. I'll know for sure when I hook it up. Beautiful red PCB board. And then, like we were talking about, the upgraded components. So you got Rubicon, capacitors. I had the list of MOSFETs, we'll list it in there. Okay, so this is the unboxing of the Reference 4. I'm gonna put it back together. The next part of the video, we should start here, but the next part would be some testing. I don't wanna go too hard on the dyno, but I mean, we're gonna go 2 ohms or whatever and just see power, but it's really, you can't hear that quality on the dyno because you can't hear it at all. But you should know, or at least investigate or maybe learn now, that a AB amp is hands down just a different sound. The way it processes it, it's just a fuller sound. Beautiful amp, beautiful footprint, beautiful box. Another hit for B2 Audio for sure. All right, check it out. I'm Big Jeff from BigJeffAudio.com, representing B2AudioUSA.com. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, follow, and like, and leave a comment. I'm gonna put this back together, and then the second part of the video, hopefully you come back, will be some testing. I might even want to play this on some audio, but you really wouldn't be able to hear the audio, even if I compare it to something else over, I don't know. Let me come up with something. We'll definitely get some numbers running on it though. I'll see you on the next one though. This is part 1. I'll see you on part 2, or you can watch the whole thing together. See you next time.